Hi, my name is Sophia Samal, and I'm a certified project manager and a Scrum Master for Hitech Solutions. I'm currently working on a large implementation for a global client for a Fortune 500 company for Hitech Solutions. I was currently asked, should I utilize Agile, Scrum, or Waterfall in my methodology for this project? After analyzing this project and looking at the requirements carefully, I did select Agile Scrum. I did realize several changes would be needed as well as the complexity of this project. So I do hope you enjoyed this video and it does provide some information for you. Thank you for watching. We are now going to discuss the Scrum process. What is Scrum, you say? Well, Scrum is an agile way to manage a project, usually software development. So we begin with the product vision, and the product vision describes the purpose of the product and the interaction and the intention with which the product is being created and what it aims to achieve for customers and for our end users as well. So a user story is what we create, and it's a tool that we use in Agile software, and it captures the description of a software feature from our end user perspective. It basically creates a simplified description of the requirement, and then we have a sprint backlog. Now, the sprint backlog is always created by the product owner, and it's basically a list of tasks that identify what needs to be done by the Scrum team. So we basically complete this during the Scrum sprint. Now, what is a sprint? A sprint is basically a time-boxed approach to managing software projects. So basically, it usually ranges between 1 week to 4 weeks, and basically it's when a Scrum team produces a product. And the sprint planning meeting is actually done before the sprint, and it's a meeting where the work is discussed that we're going to do, and everything is mapped out for the next 24 hours. So we actually daily have a daily stand-up, and this happens for 15 minutes a day, and the team puts together a strategy of what is going to be accomplished during the day. Then a sprint review happens after the sprint is complete and the sprint ends. The product owner is always available at these meetings, which is why this is very interesting, because they explain what planned work was either completed or not completed during the sprint. So the team presents their completed work, and it's more of a show and tell meeting. So we all explain to the product owner what we have and have not done. The sprint retro, which is also referred to as the sprint retrospective, takes place after the sprint ends. It's basically a forum for the team to analyze their process and to make adaptations as needed. The waterfall model is the first model ever to be introduced. It is also referred to as the linear sequential lifecycle model. Each phase must be completed before the first phase can begin, and there is no overlapping of the phases. So basically, the requirement gathering and analysis is when all requirements of the system are to be developed and captured in this phase and documented in a requirement specification document. So after that, we do have the system's design. The design is when the requirement specifications from the first phase are studied and the system design is prepared. So the system design helps in specifying hardware and system requirements and helps in defining the overall system architecture. So after that, the implementation is done with inputs from the system design, and the system is first developed in small programs called units, which are integrated in the next phase. Each unit is developed and tested for its functionality, which is referred to as unit testing. The integration testing is then done. All the units are developed in the implementation phase. They're integrated into a system, and after testing of each unit. So the post-integration is done for the entire system, and it's tested for any faults and failures. The maintenance is always something that we have to be aware of, and maintenance is always when there are always some issues which come up in the client environment. To fix those issues, we always release patches. Also, enhancements are produced and better versions are always released. Maintenance is done to deliver these changes in the customer environment. So, two words come to mind when I'm thinking about Agile, Scrum, and Waterfall, and those two words are rigid versus flexible. Guess which one is which? So, you're right, Waterfall is the rigid methodology since you don't expect changes in scope and you're working with fixed price contracts. Basically, the project is very simple and you've done it many times before. Requirements are well known and fixed, and customers know exactly what they want in advance. So you're working with orderly and predictable projects. When I'm using Agile, I am looking for something that requires lots of change. I'm looking for flexibility, adaptability, and something that can be always modified. So the final product is not always clearly defined in Agile. The client stakeholders always need the ability to modify the scope, and you anticipate changes during the project. So rapid deployment is always the goal. The question now is, which one is better? Is it going to be Agile Scrum or is it going to be Waterfall? Well, they're both such opposites that it's really difficult to say. It's actually depending on the project, the level of clarity around requirements, and how flexible you really are. I actually enjoy both methodologies depending on the project, so I'm not going to say that one is better. However, with Waterfall, you do have a clear picture of what the final product should be, and you have fixed requirements that won't change, and you're working on a very simple project. So when you're doing Agile, you basically don't have a clear picture of the final product. You anticipate changes and you're working on a very complex project. I want to thank you today for watching my presentation about Agile Scrum versus Waterfall methodology. I also wanted to let you know that Hitech ERP Solutions provides expert professionals for your project needs as well as PMP and Agile Scrum training. Please feel free to contact me at sophia@hitecherp.com whenever you're looking for cutting-edge experts to deliver results and to provide you value. Please don't hesitate to call Hitech Solutions, and also feel free to email me anytime. Thank you for watching.